Greetings to you and welcome to this Aries season reading that will cover the lunar eclipse in Libra at 5 degrees. Exciting, very energetically catalyzing moment in our lives, and you may already be able to feel that. I have to say that as I was pulling cards for this reading, the energy leading up to me understanding the underlying messages was electric and a little chaotic, a little aggressive, and impatient. So intuitively, I would say that these are the emotions that we will be confronting. They are the emotions that will be in our environment. And however those emotions play out for you, or however they trigger you, the opportunity is in acknowledging them and then understanding how to best prepare to assimilate and understand the root cause of these emotions. Obviously, the world is in absolute turmoil, and there's no denying that. Anybody who is trying to convince themselves otherwise is living under a rock, and no matter how much we turn a blind eye to the chaos of our global relations, our economics, our inability to see eye to eye, to find cross-communal commonalities, to always be looking for the difference, to always be looking for the severance, the boundary, the delineation of difference. This full moon lunar eclipse brings attention to the need for balance in relationships. As lunar eclipses are also very often about endings and focusing on what needs to be terminated or eliminated, you will want to be mindful of how you experience your communication with other people who you perhaps are already on unsolid ground with, particularly in environments where we don't have free will or full freedom to manifest authentically. So we want to do our very best to protect our own interests while also being open to letting go where we have been perhaps holding on too tight. Of course, it's also the opportunity for us to focus on the harmony in our relationships. So where there is something worth salvaging or further investing in or elevating, for that matter, this is also the opportunity to do so. Of course, as we are also starting a brand new astrological year, going into Aries on the 20th, which is 4 or 5 days before the lunar eclipse, we're also moving into a time of individuation, a need to focus on our rebirth. In our reading, we have manifestations of endings and renewals across the board. And so I think that it is a very auspicious time for those of us who are ready for putting a new energy into our step forward. And what I'm having a strong intuitive feeling about is that there has been a lot of internal dialogue, a lot of internal processing, a lot of not quite repression around communication of our inner process, but a prudishness to it, almost a desire to hold back from presenting ourselves in the rawness of our emotionality, as if we were in a cocoon, allowing certain feelings and thoughts and intellectual processes to mature to a place of being able to be ready for release. Not necessarily ready for being received, but that's all part of the process of Aries season, is how we show up. I don't know with my glasses just how much is showing up, but I have an eye infection, so I'm hoping this isn't so gross. It's in the final stages and it's healing, but my eye has looked for days like somebody punched me in the face, or I had some terrible plastic surgery on one side of my face. So forgive me if you can see that. I probably brought attention to it now and you're going to be like, what the hell is that? But I'm fine. What other intuitive messages? Gotta let go of fear. I feel the fear. I feel it. I feel how we're all in a place where we're holding back. We're not sure how anything's going to turn out, and so we're reluctant to commit. And Aries season is going to force a degree of commitment out of us. And in doing so, we will be sowing the seeds of the year to come. And so we want to spend as much time as possible focusing on how to bring inner harmony spiritually out into our experiences. Because as I said, there's a lot of electricity in the air, there's a lot of chaos and potential for explosiveness, for conflict. And when I say conflict, I don't mean interpersonal conflict in the sense of having fights with people or anything else. I just mean that there's an abrasiveness to the way that things are showing up. And so rather than there being a nice, easy flow temperance process, there's more of a sense of some aspect of life throwing a punch in this way and us having to be ready to duck or swerve or throw back. Just it's this game idea that I'm feeling it in my body. There's an engagement required from us. We are going to have to show up engaged, ready for battle, ready for, taking it on, and not allowing ourselves to be overtaken by the energetic forces. In other words, there's an enormous amount of potential, but where there is potential and there's energy, there's also the possibility of being crushed. So, something to think about. Of course, everybody is responsible for themselves. I'm not telling you that you're going to get crushed, but buckle up in any case and be ready to throw your best punch forward. Okay. I've pulled out some of our traditional decks that we have not seen together for some time, mainly because I haven't really recorded that much content, but here I am. And so we're going to do it the old way, and we're going to start with, we're going to start with our Sufi Wisdom Oracle card, as I think that it speaks to the underlying setting of the tone for this Aries season. Life purpose. Seek your own deeper vision for life. I can't really tell if that image is important for you to see, but anyway, there you go. What a mess. I haven't even opened up the book, and never mind. For 30 years I was searching for God, and when my eyes were finally opened, I discovered that it was God who was seeking me. Bastami. Looking for the truth, for God, and for the beloved in the fundamental themes of Sufi devotions, many of their mystical discourses and writings are centered on the theme of searching for the ultimate truth. Bastami is proclaiming here that what we seek is already there, waiting to connect with us. Our true purpose in life is already set in our DNA. We have to find our way into it. We do this by taking steps towards our goals and by trying new things. The more we act on this, the more we find clarity. This oracle is encouraging you to see yourself moving from darkness towards the light. Affirm that you have the power to create and to heal the limitations within you. Love sets you free to be aware of a personal universe within you. You are guided to learn to access this deeper capacity by trusting and opening to it. Through faith, the boundaries of the earth and its atmosphere seem to open to allow you to touch and experience a new reality. Dear one, know that when your life is working as it's meant to be, your entire existence flows quite easily. Take charge of your life and keep reminding yourself that you can do this. Start now and begin to follow what attracts you. Develop interests that renew your energy, even if you realize you may have to change your course. As you discover your true purpose in life, you naturally become more loving and helpful to other people. When this happens, your relationships will also improve. As you ponder your purpose in life, keep asking these questions of yourself. What is it that I love to do? Why am I here? What is my life's purpose? The answers may not come on the first day or even in the first week, but they will eventually come to you when you seek to respond sincerely from your heart. And could there be a more perfect message for the beginning of Aries season and a brand new astrological year. We have a spirit animal oracle card. I will spit it out. I've actually been adapting my sleep to daylight savings time and also trying to regulate myself after I had a very intense social period in my life because I call it social. I went to see Madonna 4 times at the Forum here in Los Angeles because that is my one lifelong insane obsession, and she did not disappoint, but she does make it a very late night, and by the time I'd driven home and wound down, and I may have done some mushrooms a couple of times, I was pretty hyped up and hungry too when I came home, and so I wasn't going to sleep until really late, and then the clocks changed and it was a nightmare. So I mean, I may as well have gone to Europe and had to adjust to a different time zone to get my sleep back on track. But I was in bed last night, asleep at midnight, and I woke up before 8 this morning, so I consider that to be a victory. Even with my weird eye infection, which I believe I got from the optician when I went to get my new glasses prescription, because they maybe put my eye all over their weird equipment that they clearly did not clean well enough. Anyway, enough about that. Let us focus on our spirit animal oracle card for Aries season and the lunar eclipse. Spider spirit. Make your dreams real. Weaving your dreams into the fabric of life begins with a single thread of intention, and then spirit joins you as your co-weaving partner. Take but a single step to make your dream a reality, and spirit will take 10 towards you, for the universe is designed to support your dream weaving. Spider spirit arrives when you need reminding of the awesome power of co-creation with spirit. Ideas and resources will begin to appear as if by magic as you begin to bring your dreams from the realm of intention into the world of the senses where they take form. The action you need to take is to be clear about your intentions, and then act as if you have become the one that lives the life you desire. The web of creation has an uncanny way of coming together to weave the beautiful pattern you set in motion. Another message of Spider Spirit is about any creative project you may be considering: writing, painting, music, journaling, gardening. Now is the time when inspiration wants to be channeled through you as something creative, even artistic and tangible. Creative projects are successful now, if you are so inclined. Let yourself be open to abundance. And I will read the protection message just because I think as we are in a time of renewal, it indicates what we are letting go of and what may have been holding us back. So here we go. Are you expecting your dreams to weave themselves into reality? Are you stuck in the sticky web of weaving dreams but never following through? The thread of intention isn't enough to make dreams a reality unless you do your part in the weaving. Spider Spirit wants you to know that your plans will remain ephemeral unless you commit to being productive and industrious. For Spirit will not do it all for you. Magic needs to be instigated, so begin to make your dream a reality by taking action today. What are you willing to do? What are you willing to sacrifice? Can you release your limiting beliefs? Your dream is worthy of weaving. Today is a dream to choose one small step towards your dream. Remember, spirit is your weaving partner, and you have to be the first one to bring the thread to the loom, then continue to do your part. And that was a very strong message that came through recently for me that I'll share with you, that we have to ask spirit and the angels and our guardian angels, specifically, and our guides, what it is that we want their help with. If we don't ask for it, and if there's no reciprocity in intention and in sentiment, we don't allow for that conduit to be filled with magic. Like everything, it requires believing, but it also requires commitment. And very often I think that we fail to do that. We think of something and we get caught within the confines of intellect and the mind. And then we fail to weave in the magic of spirit. And it's easy to fall into that trap because there's a lot going on, right? We're juggling a lot of things. We're trying to make a lot of things happen, and we have to exist in different states of mind in order to accommodate different cultures and different attitudes and different expectations and people, and so sometimes we lose sight of a very important part of our spiritual co-creative journey. And sometimes the energy can become very confusing too. Like, for example, today I went on a nice long hike, but I also felt really, after my hike, rather than feeling exhausted, I felt invigorated and creatively invigorated. And so not only did I record a random new episode of my podcast, which some of you I know checked out. Is available on Spotify, and it is called Universal Soul Healer. If you happen to be interested in it, it's just more of me talking, mostly about the things that I think as spiritual beings we find ourselves conflicted around. Anyway, worth checking out if you feel like hearing my voice. I do talk very softly over there, and so therefore it can be a great soothing application in your life. But I did that, and then I also recorded some music. Randomly, I started piecemealing some very abstract ideas together, and came up with a instrumental for something that I'm going to continue working on. And I decided that I was going to do this reading. So, where for weeks, months even, I have been unable to commit to doing even one of those things. I mean, I have done some of it, but it hasn't come easily in recent times. In one afternoon, I was able to commit to doing all three. And it is because I have been communicating with Spirit and the angels more intently. And our heart has to be in what we're communicating to. And I know that I'm saying that to myself because I'm laughing, because I really do need to start thinking about working again. And I know that I tell myself that I've asked my guides and the angels to assist me with this, but at the same time I know that there's a part of me that isn't really 100% committed yet to it, but I need to be. So that's a negotiation with myself, within myself. But I do think it's a good illustration of where things won't necessarily happen if you don't fully commit. So note to self, I need to commit to the practical as well. We are going to also read, this deck I'm so not familiar with, and I used to occasionally read from it, but it always used to get like really intensely deep into spiritual language that it wasn't necessarily always accessible, and there were sort of ritualistic aspects to it too. But because I did get a strange message through something else that I was reading about 639 hertz as a frequency, and this card is the one that came out, Tantra of 639 hertz, number 18, I figured I would share it because there may be something, well, there will be something in it for us to savor. And so we will get into the tarot very shortly. Where is it? Okay, here we go. I will show you the card. Be open to that which seems unfamiliar or different. You will experience a breakthrough as you embrace an unusual approach. You are on a soul path of accelerated spiritual growth, which is swifter, but not always easier. You do not have to contrive your own happiness, but you can dip into the bliss within your body to lighten your mental state and remind yourself everything is working out beautifully. I have to think about that one, because I sometimes when I'm reading something like that, I start applying it to myself and then I get distracted, so I apologize for that. But anyway, I will pay attention to that. I shall reread it afterwards. Tantra is the conscious, creative intermingling of the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine energies that dwell within every human heart. When one chooses to honor the interplay of these sacred energies, we become able to engage with the mysteries of our life and respond creatively. Tantra is the refusal to turn away from your life experiences, even the painful ones, because you recognize that with wisdom, spiritual growth can emerge from all things. Tantra is the willingness of your heart to thoroughly embrace that which might be difficult or different to what we expect, and through such open-minded, open-hearted engagement, discover a capacity to love and become wise. Tantra is the sacred relationship of the spirit and the body which creates the soul, with all its precious gifts of healing, creativity, love, and higher consciousness. The frequency of 639 hertz evokes unity. It moves beneath conflicts and grounds us in simplicity, connection, and love. When Tantra of 639 hertz is in a reading, soul connections, whether twin flames, soulmates, spirit guides, or soul tribes, are especially significant to our spiritual growth. This frequency enhances the capacity for conscious and healing interaction between those who have been at odds. It is a loving cosmic bliss bomb which breaks the toxic grip of ego and facilitates soulful connections and karmic healing. If you have been working through relationship issues, this oracle brings good news for healing and resolution. I would say that this is a good indication of what the lunar eclipse energy will actually be. So we're not looking at discord in relationships. We're looking at a recalibration and reharmonization of them. This frequency also clears and strengthens the energy flow through the inner systems of the body, promoting cellular renewal. The heart healing brought about by this frequency heightens our spiritual awareness so we can navigate in both our relationships and our environments with more discernment and skill. When we cannot control our environments, we can work to become masterful of our own energy. The oracle brings reassurance. This frequency reestablishes our connection to the spiritual realms of love, light, and sacred healing beauty. It is the sublime frequency of ecstatic serenity. These beautiful energies can enter our field and create a movable spiritual feast which will nourish, support, protect, and shelter us no matter the environment we may be moving through. The Oracle of Tantra of 639 Hz asks you to allow connection. Do not zone out and turn away from what is happening, even when it is painful. Be gentle with yourself, but be persistent on your path. If you cannot proceed along a certain course, find another way, and do not abandon your dreams. Be receptive and yet also determined and dynamic. If you have been worrying about a situation, this oracle advises you are working your way through it. Whatever support you need shall be provided, and you are further along than you realize. The highest divine outcome is already being woven through your soul and into your experience. Things may not go to plan, but they are still going to work out. Okay, so let's look at our tarot. We have, from the Rider-Waite deck, 2 cards for past, ground the foundation energy of the reading, 2 cards for the present, where we stand in the present moment energetically, and 2 cards for outcome, the future, and then from I don't remember what the deck's name is, but from another deck that I happen to have, I pulled 1 extra clarifier, and then I pulled 1 Osho Zen oracle card as an overriding theme, which we already looked at. It was rebirth, which is the perfect message for the beginning of the astrological new year and eclipse season. So, it's very on the nose. Our foundation past energy is the Death card, along with the 2 of Pentacles in reverse. Now, intuitively, well, obviously the Death card denotes the ending and beginning of life. The 2 of Pentacles reversed speaks to what is ending, and the fact that it's in reverse, where I would normally look at it as being when we are unable to commit to a particular philosophy, a particular drive in life that actually keeps us in harmony with our desires and our projections in terms of where we want to evolve. The split of being in 2 required states of being. In reverse, it's an inner confusion around these things, because it's not about the manifestation in the outside world. So what is coming to an end is this inner juggling, this inner inability to commit to our, well, I'll go ahead and say it, life purpose, our bigger picture. Knowing after such a long time of cocooning who we are and how we want to show up also leads us to, perhaps in a more abstract way, an idea of what we want to become and how we want to show up in the world. And it is a matter of taking 1 step at a time and giving ourselves the permission to be slow and intentional in our process of manifesting our life purpose. Because if you were to tell me that you've discovered that your life purpose is to become an airline pilot, I would say, well, that's not a life purpose. That's a vocation, perhaps, but what's the purpose of it? What are you bringing to the world with that? A life purpose is something that's much more personal and much more embedded in your soul DNA, and it's something that you feel. So I think that this is the beginning of being able to feel the soul life purpose coming forth, emerging from your pores and your essence, essentially. It does come from this other deck that I really rather shamefully cannot remember the name of, and that is very shiny, so therefore reflects back, so you won't really be able to see it. It is the Tower. And in this depiction, which you may be able to see if I hold it a little bit like that, I don't know whether you can see the image, but she is embracing the Tower. And the Tower, it's a much more poetic view of the Tower, because, and one that resonates in this case. The Tower is the universe stepping in to tear down the things that stand in our way, that get in the way of us becoming. It's where we've remained stagnant. It's our comfort zone. It's the things that we've accumulated and that we define ourselves by and that we hold on to. And the law of the universe is that change is necessary and absolute and constant. And so therefore, if you are holding on to outdated values, for example, the Two of Pentacles in reverse, this implication of not being able to really give yourself permission to commit to your faith, essentially, your faith in yourself. That is being eradicated. I think I'm getting a strong intuitive sense that the new moon that we recently, the new moon in Pisces, was where that seed of ending was planted. And you may have found that in the last 2 weeks you have been feeling quite uneasy about things changing inside of you, that it's almost like the changes are happening more rapidly than you can process internally. And of course that means that electricity that I was talking about at the beginning of the reading, I think, is the frequency that manifests when we are evolving quicker than our mind or body would like to accommodate. And because the outside world needs to be able to receive us, and without the full intentionality and the full commitment, that electric kind of static manifests. You want to make sure that you are very intentional in your body when you're feeling these types of feelings, so that you know where you're placing your energy. You don't ever want to find yourself allowing that to go haywire, because what happens is it makes your nervous system and subsequently your immune system go haywire. So when you feel that, find an intention, sit with it, commit to it, meditate on it, and then release. That's the way to go with that. This brings us into a new realization, which is we have the Devil here with the Queen of Swords. Now, the Queen of Swords overrides the Devil in this scenario. And when I say that, what I mean is to say that all our codependency, all of our enslavements, all of the things that we are and do that don't serve our higher purpose, all of the ways that we play small, all of the ways that we shape ourselves to the desires of others, all of the ways in which we fail to honor ourselves. There's another side of us, after all of the what am I trying to say? All people representations in the tarot represent aspects of ourselves, right? Or others, but I mean, at the end of the day, we're looking at things from a self-centric perspective when we do these readings. The Queen of Swords is the higher self, essentially, who has the capacity to not only acknowledge what doesn't serve us and to address what doesn't serve us, but to eradicate it. And she takes no prisoners. She is clean cut. She wants to be done with something. She wants to reach the conclusion as quickly and as efficiently and as efficaciously as possible. And that is the energy of the Aries season. Clarified by the one and only Fool, another beginning card. In fact, to go from the Death card to the Fool is the most logical progression. So, as I said before, having the Death card, the Fool, is there anything to say on this Fool beyond the obvious? No, because it really is to tie in with our next card going into our future energy, and the Ace of Wands, which is also a renewal energy. There is a clear indication here that in this new energy, we need to focus on our inspiration, our creativity, and ultimately remembering the message from the Sufi wisdom card on life purpose. And well, all of these cards have basically hammered home a pretty broad variation on a similar message, right? So we're doing pretty well here. The Ace of Wands, it's an empowerment card. It is a gift of inspiration from the divine, but it is an empowerment card to have the drive to move forward with new concepts, to give shape to things that thus far have only been in the ether and haven't been able to be solidified into action, accompanied by the Nine of Pentacles. Now, the Nine of Pentacles is, in this case, about a mastery of the elements, a mastery of knowing that we are enough, knowing that no matter what, we are able to essentially take care of ourselves. And when you have that faith, you can let go of the anguish. And there's no room for anguish when it comes to the Ace of Wands. Anguish will make that wand, very wet and incapable of catching any fire. So clearing out that, and there's a strong feeling of harmony around that. There's a strong feeling of permission. That's the word, permission. And a lot of us still need permission. We still seek out permission from outside of ourselves. And so with the Nine of Pentacles here, it's coming into a new understanding of permission coming from within. And that is what is victorious in the Six of Wands, in that element. Thus, it being the clarifier. I think all of that is pretty self-explanatory and linear. So I'm going to move right on to our conclusion, which is our Osho Zen Oracle card. I don't know why I'm getting extremely congested right now. I think it's Enzo, my cat, putting a spell on me because we have not been getting along today. I think he puts out like extra allergens when he's mad at me. What am I looking for right now? Oh, yes. Okay. Let me find this card. Which is the Ten of Cups in this deck, which is 136. I will hold the card up for you again in a second. For any of you that have watched these videos over the course of the years, we've had this card a good few times, so you may be familiar with it. I do love that image. And we know this myth is coming. This card depicts the evolution of consciousness as it is described by Friedrich Nietzsche in his book, Thus Spake Zarathustra. He speaks of the three levels of camel, lion, and child. The camel is sleepy, dull, and self-satisfied. He lives in delusion, thinking he's a mountain peak, but really he is so concerned with others' opinions that he hardly has any energy of his own. Emerging from the camel is the lion. When we realize that we've been missing life, we start saying no to the demands of others. We move out of the crowd, alone and proud, roaring our truth. But this is not the end. Finally, the child emerges, neither acquiescent nor rebellious, but innocent and spontaneous and true to his own being. Whatever the space you're in right now, sleepy and depressed, or roaring and rebellious, be aware that it will evolve into something new if you allow it. It is a time of growth and change. In Zen, you are coming from nowhere and you are going to nowhere. You are just now, here, neither coming nor going. Everything passes by you. Your consciousness reflects it, but it does not get identified. When a lion roars in front of a mirror, do you think the mirror roars? Or when the lion is gone and a child comes dancing, the mirror completely forgets about the lion and starts dancing with the child. Do you think the mirror dances with the child? The mirror does nothing, it simply reflects. Your consciousness is only a mirror. Neither do you come nor do you go. Things come and go. You become young, you become old, you are alive, you are dead. All these states are simply reflections in an eternal pool of consciousness. There's nothing more I can say to that, right? I think that trumps me on every level. So I will simply wish you many blessings for Aries season. focus on emotional alignment for the Libra lunar eclipse, and release what gets in your way. Release the shackles, release the boundaries that are unnecessary, release the self-imprisonment. We got to do it. It's hard. It's hard because we don't even like admitting how much we put ourselves within self-created limits, but they are there, whether emotional, physical, coming from someone else, or coming from ourselves. Okay. Mwah.